Papua is in a constant state of change. So much of this country is wild and unexplored. Mother Nature is changing this island almost on a daily basis.
There's so much history here, you just gotta go find it. Over the 3 years of traveling, this could be the trip that takes the cake. Anything goes here.
Every step of this world trip has taken us further away from home, to places we never expected to see.
2 years ago, I would never have understood how much this journey would change me.
This is why we travel. This is the reason that we're out here. We've arrived in Papua New Guinea and immediately gone through Port Moresby and flown out to East New Britain. New Britain's one of the bigger islands off the coast of the mainland Papua New Guinea. We're actually standing in pretty much the center of the current town of Rabaul. Rabaul has seen better days. It used to be a real gem of the area. It was a town of hustle and bustle, town where a lot of tourists came, expats, locals wanted to come here on vacation, everybody did, but a lot changed.
Outside of the town is this volcano. And what it does is it puts all the dust into the air and it just lands on the town.
You can see what we're standing on here. It's just ash. It's all over the place. We've only come a certain amount into the city itself, and we know that where we're going is going to reveal just how big this city once was. It's obviously downsized quite a bit after 1994's eruption, which, you know, covered most of this town. Is it better soft? Yeah, okay. We've been lucky enough to be hooked up with a friend named Nick, who's actually from Papua New Guinea, and his family has had pretty well-established businesses, thank you very much, all throughout the country. And because of that, really knows the country quite well.
What is all this? You walk along here, everybody seems to be selling the same thing.
Well, that product is betel nut, kind of like a fruit. Everybody chews it. Makes your teeth go red, and you can tell who's been chewing it longer. The teeth go black.
You chew it?
Nah,
look at those teeth. Those teeth are too white. Look at those teeth. The volcanoes around this island have taken out cities, towns, communities.
It's hard to imagine that this was only 15 some odd years ago because it looks so aged.
All we need now is like a tumbleweed to be rolling down here and get that whole ghost town.
This building down here, it was a clubhouse. Only ministers and politicians and big businessmen were allowed to go to this place.
You think we can go into that? Like, I'm not wearing my fancy duds or anything. I know you. You seem like a pretty important person.
Not exactly an inviting place anymore, is it? It's all locked up.
So is this one of the guns they confiscated? No weapons allowed. It's like, whoa, 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 what do you got underneath your jacket? And you pull this thing out, it's like, whoa, I'm not allowed to bring this in?
This is a World War II relic though, man. Like, why isn't this in a museum or something?
This is a museum. Have a look around.
You think we'll see more of this stuff?
Plenty, all over the place. I'm so unhappy I've missed this part of Rabaul. You know, we could have been here 20 years ago and see it in action. That would have been great.
20 years ago, bums like us wouldn't have been allowed near this place.
Look at this chain. We can even get into this place and look at this chain.
I reckon that's what the volcano does to all the steel around here. Get in here. You're still trying to break your way in? I think you're 15 years late. Damn.
What's that saying? What's that saying? They say...
Once a nobody, always a nobody. Rabaul is basically a modern Pompeii.
What a crazy life. Light up. He becomes like a little kid. He really loves all this stuff and he knows so much about it. Well, Scott, you're the plane guy. What am I looking at here? A bomber?
Twin engine Japanese Betty. Last couple of days of the war in the Pacific, I'm sure the Japanese would have loved to have just had even those. Took some damage on the way down. It was definitely shot down. I've never seen one of these before. Not much left to look at, but it's the real deal.
Think she'll still fly? With a little music montage and a little hard work, we can get this thing flying.
I can't believe that this much survived being shot down and crashing into the ground. And then 50 years after the war, it survived a volcanic eruption. And an extra 15 years after that, here we are.
Scott, you know, he's on cloud 9 right now and it's cool seeing like that.
There's still so much of this left. It's a miracle.
It's like me going to chocolate factory or something. You know, it's just
I don't know. So it's like looking at a gravestone or something. There's a lot of losses on both sides in this war.
In every war.
In every war.
We're driving to make our way closer to the volcano, and these kids, out of nowhere, just jumped out in our truck. And now we got some kids. Look at, there's more coming.
All the kids in the whole of Papua New Guinea, they love tourism, naturally.
All these kids are all over the place.
Stand over there.
This is the area that used to be the town of Rabaul. It was absolutely devastated overnight by that volcano right there.
There's a lot of sulfur in the air. You can smell it, you can taste it. As we're driving in, they're telling us this used to be the main street, there used to be all these pubs, this used to be Chinatown, this used to be this. This is where the Prime Minister used to have his house. Gone, everything gone.
This gives you a pretty good idea of how quickly this happened. This is relatively small amount of ash piled on top. There's a lot of buildings that we've seen where you can only just see the rooftops. 1.5, 2 stories of a building completely buried in ash, some completely buried. It's a fixer-upper. Do the old tire kick test.
Yeah, that does something.
Oh, look, it's crumbling apart.
It's just such a weird landscape, like it's just so dead. It almost feels like I'm walking on the moon somewhat.
It's hot. You can feel more of the heat coming off of it the closer we get to it. The sea right in front of us is just steaming like crazy. But I mean, it gets to a point where we won't be able to go any further because I mean, it'll actually be unsafe to get too close to gas that's that noxious and poisonous to us. It's just best not to think about it. I mean, it's not a matter of like, I wonder if it's gonna go off. Well, it is going off. It's going off right now. It's just, it's not going off to the degree that it was when it buried the city.
Don't you notice as we get closer, the less people start following us? It's just like we start off with all these kids and everything. Everybody's jumping, oh yeah, we're coming with you. And that's all of a sudden, wait a second, where are you guys going? Okay, that's a little much.
PNG lies on the Ring of Fire and is one of the most active of the countries within the Ring of Fire. And I think it's important to kind of start here because there's absolutely no greater base to break this country down into, let alone the entire world into, than the absolute roots of what makes this world, what created the land that we all stand on, which is the brute force of Mother Nature. But it's not until you get this deep into it that you really realize how powerful it is. You were just looking over at this cliff face. It just burnt away the land, right?
It feels so alien.
Yeah.
Like we're not even supposed to be here, or it's not a part of the planet.
That's the beauty part about this country, is no one's really around to tell you not to do it, right?
Yeah, that's right.
We're getting up on the actual base of the volcano itself now. We're gonna have to be careful how far we get at this point. Any of these little fissures can kind of open up and a new vent can form and start spurting this toxic stuff straight up at our face. Gotta be aware of where you're putting your feet now.
Let's follow your footsteps then.
I'm following Nick's.
I'm just going that way, straight for the mountain.
I am kind of a little bit concerned on these gases that are coming up. God only knows what kind of poisons are in the air, but that's for me when I'm 75 years old to worry about. When I'm old, sitting in a wheelchair, I'll be like, that was a bad idea.
Actually, just coming up that last slope, breathing the air gets you coughing, doesn't it?
Yeah. My eyes are burning.
We are what, maybe 500 meters from the top?
You're the only smart one, dude.
I got it in Japan. How close do we really want to go though? Like how close is actually safe? Justin.
Just that.
Hey, why don't you go there? How long as you can carry my body down. Have you noticed that there's like these fumes coming up behind us now?
There's been a lot of people who've come up here for a number of reasons and they've never been heard from again.
That some people have never come back, but you know, hearsay. Can't confirm that.
It wasn't I was afraid of the thing going off. I'm like, the chance of this thing going off while we're up here, it's like getting struck by lightning. But the gases and everything that's being distributed by this volcano are deadly.
I have to apologize to my mother, who has to endure watching me do these stupid things all the time, probably taking years off her life. Dad's a science nut. For the love of science, who gets to get this close to a volcano? So, Dad, I hope you understand. Mom, I'm sorry.
Good last words, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not going any further than here.
I'd at least like to just get up in that colored stuff.
See it blowing towards us? I've taken too many fire protection courses and know what kind of chemicals are in the air after.
What kind?
Lots.
Did they teach you volcano protection?
Yeah, they said don't go near a volcano.
We're only here once.
Why am I the worst? I'm usually the dumb one, you know?
Screw it. Let's keep going. Just a little further.
You guys push on. I'm gonna stay down here. Susan.
You can see just right in behind you, eh, Dre? There's the vent gases that are starting to come out. This sulfur dioxide and a whole mix of junk, which is really making it very hard to breathe. I think Justin had the right idea. Probably not wise to go on a heck of a lot further. Shit, I can't even talk. Oh, I can just really taste it. What do you say we do that big rock and see what happens? I really don't like what I'm doing to myself, but at the same time, the excitement of being at the lip of a volcano, an active volcano, is so much of a thrill, so much of a draw. What should we do now?
Always ready when you are.
I'm wearing this mask, but I think it's just filtering out the oxygen as well.
Are you still feeling a burn and stuff?
Oh yeah, I don't think this is doing anything. It's for like not catching the flu.
But guys, the wind's coming up from the side.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Not doing anything.
Cheerios, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's dangerous.
Mind carrying the vest for me?
Ugh.
A little sweaty.
Enjoy that climb?
It's rough.
Yeah, it was, huh?
How you doing?
Yeah, good. The air is cleaner down here.
It's terrible. It's amazing, but terrible and terrifying.
Oh, acid sweat. Burns the eyes.
Sulfuric acid.
Here, it's good for you.
It was good to be back down at ground zero, that's for sure.
Look at where it starts and it goes all the way up and over there.
You guys are idiots, I think. Honestly, you have no idea what you guys just breathing in up there. I saw you guys go up there and I was like, no way. You guys just went up there for like a minute. You were up there for like a good 20 minutes. Hope you enjoyed it.
During the Second World War, Papua New Guinea was a huge battleground. Japanese came through and occupied a lot of Papua New Guinea. So consequently, there's a lot of stuff left here on the island. We're gonna go in and see a submarine base right now.
There was an old man there, and his father and his grandfather helped build the tunnels. George was his name, and he was just full of information. So you say it drops 300 meters.
Yeah.
The submarines would come up here, tie up to these things, and then load up with bombs and all the ammunition and everything. So we just go in here.
Yeah, you know.
And how far does it go back? Oh, it goes in and out?
Yeah,
How old were you when they were doing this?
I was 14 years.
14?
Yeah.
Oh, so you remember it pretty well.
I can speak a little bit Japanese language.
Oh. Arigato gozaimasu.
Yeah, arigato gozaimasu.
I know a little bit of Japanese, very, very little, very little.
Tanura, tanura, Japanese tanura. Tanura means camel.
How long did it take to build this?
Tanura,
3 or 4 months, you said? Yeah. How many people would actually live down here?
4,000.
Thousands?
1,000.
Wow.
They would have had native slaves or prisoners digging this out by hand. Yeah, you can see here, look at the pick marks all the way through.
You have to do this all by hand. You're a slave in your own backyard. And then after the war ends, then you just keep having repetitive problems with the volcano. These people have to endure a lot, don't they?
It's so important to find those people, the eyewitnesses. There's so many stories that are untold. Just to sit down with somebody who experienced it when they were young and get their impression of what happened here in Papua, to me that'll stick in my mind a lot more than anything I could ever read. He was saying that during the day this was always getting bombed. His uncle got killed by a bomb, and then at night the bombs would stop, and then that's when they would bring up the submarines and then they'd load them up. He said it was really, really quick.
See, I lost one of my lost World War II.
The Japanese do that?
Yeah,
They cut off your toe?
yeah.
It's always better to be here, to be on the spot. Like I could throw stones on a submarine if I was here 60 some odd years ago. That's how close they brought them. And there would have been Japanese Zeros flying overhead. My grandpa had books after the war that he picked up, all about the Second World War that my dad gave to me. I used to read them all the time. There's something about looking at these black and white pictures that always makes it seem like it was so long ago. But you come here and everything's in color and in 3D, and basically what to me as a kid was a storybook, this really interesting storybook, kind of come to life. It's the next best thing to being able to have a time machine. I still just can't get over the scenery and everything from up here. I mean, this is the perfect spot to have $1 million cottage anywhere else in the world. Pretty crudely chopped out gun emplacement. The beauty part about this, you get to see the best example of how small that reef goes out from the coastline and how abrupt that huge wall is, dropping down a few hundred meters.
A lot of things happened in this area where, you know, a lot of ships went down, a lot of planes went down, and because of it, in this area, it's just, there's so much to see.
45-minute exciting little boat ride across the bay, and then we'll get our gear sorted and get in the water. This is it, boys.
In order to dive in this area, we need to pay him first. This guy kind of owns the land in this area, so he kind of takes care of everything. It's just to show respect and just to thank him for, you know, let us dive here. Thank you. How awkward is that?
You guys getting the money?
Yeah.
That's the way it works.
Is he sharpening his axe right now?
Yeah, that's right.
Well, let's get out of here. Man's been paid.
The water right below the bow of the boat here is about 100-150 meters.
So this is your first dive, eh?
Yeah.
First volcanoes, now this.
Now we're diving on wrecks from World War II.
We just showed up and man, you just keep going with us, man. You're right there with us, that's awesome.
Check out the beast, is what I gotta carry. This can go down to about 200 meters, so farther than I'm ever gonna probably dive in my life.
It's amazing. Before we leave the island of New Britain, we want to see more than just the coastline, so we're taking a couple of 4x4s deep into the jungle as far as we can, and then from there we'll go on foot. We'll try to make a day of it, overnight in the woods somewhere.
Jungle, it's not woods, pure jungle.
We're going with Nick, of course, and a buddy of his, Corey, and a couple of his boys are going to help us stay safe and find our way safely in and out of the bush.
It's not the bush, this is jungle.
This is where the hike begins.
It's a nice trek up to Byron Village, which about a year ago there was only one villager living there, but he's now sort of slowly building his empire. There's now 2 families living there. So
Our hope is if we hike all day, we can probably get to one of the nearest villages, spend the night with them, and get a real feel for what the real inland part of New Britain is like. Wow. Just a a wall of bamboo, eh? This represents probably like 95% of this entire country.
Yeah, that's it. That's why I wanted you guys to come out and have a look. This is what we have, real jungle.
The sun's coming up, a bit closer to midday now. We've been walking for a few hours. It's starting to get hot. It's starting to get really hot, even under the canopy. Well, on a perfect little ridge overlooking the whole area, the dogs just got told. We just arrived in the village that we were hoping to get to before dark. Plenty of time to spare, a nice breeze rolling through. They call this a village, but I mean, it's essentially just 5 or 6 huts, and that's it. Who knows, you come back here 10 years from now, there might be 12 huts here.
This is Israel.
Nice to meet you. He was the one who actually started this village, right?
This was the only hut that was standing about two years ago, and then since that time, another 2 families have also arrived.
So can you ask him why he chooses to live here instead of go to the city?
This is his home. He likes being in the bush,
Yeah.
isolated. He's got, fresh meat, his garden that he plants his veggies in, his fruit, and he's got his family here. So what more do you want? So we're gonna watch them prepare the pig in traditional PNG style.
Look at the bounty we're about to dig into. Thank you very much. Get a load of that. That's quite the trophy case. He's collected just about every bottom jaw of every pig that he's killed in the last year or so, maybe 2 years that he's been up here.
Jeez, it's gotta be over close to 100 there.
They've got a couple of families to feed and no grocery store.
Yeah, there's a lot of pigs up here, throughout the mountains, everywhere. So that's where all the natives survive.
This is a country that is probably 90% unseen, undeveloped. The first couple of days here have been absolutely mind-blowing. It just keeps getting better and better.
That's hot.
Good show.
Wow, we're all so surprised. Aside from machetes and a couple of knives, there's really no metal here at all. Everything else has been fashioned in some way. There's no generator here at all. You know, they don't have a radio, they don't have anything.
It's cool when you come in and you can see that they live on what's around them.
No
That's
outside
it.
influence, because that's the tough thing, right? It's like, it's so hard to live without those outside influences. Clearly they've got everything they need here, you know? And it's so nice to see that they're kind of remaining true to that. I'm just getting the feeling that this is PNG, you know, this is the way this country is.
Wild and free. You notice the little girl hacking away with a knife? Things like that just don't happen where we come from. Never. Kids aren't even allowed to use like butter knives. That's the jungle, man.
The size of this little piece of their bananas. This thing is enormous, and you can cook it over the fire. You can just eat it raw like the normal banana we do at home. It has so much flavor. The sun's going down now, and I'm just in perfect relaxation mode. It's the exact same feeling you get going out for a weekend of camping. Once camp is set up and everyone's settled, and you get a nice sunset like this, it's all that matters. You just mellow out, get ready for dinner, and you know that when the sun goes down, you're gonna be out like a light as well. This sort of terrain and this sort of isolation is pretty hard to come by in this day and age. And yet, well, this is how these people live every single day.
There's so much meat here. It'd take me like 4 weeks to eat all this meat. And every week he does this. He brings back a pig and everybody eats and everybody's healthy, and it's simple, but it makes so much sense. Well, you can see all the different layers, eh? Skin, fat, more fat. Bye-bye, abs.
It's your window to weight gain.
Oh my God. I can't believe you're eating that.
I'm eating all the fat. What are you saving it for? Tomorrow?
That doesn't help. Can I just see you take a bite just of the fat?
Don't ruin his fat meat sandwich.
What's it taste like? Like fat.
Here you go, fat boy.
Eat up. That rice is just getting in your way, dude. Look at it. You're worrying about that rice too much. Eat the fat. You do realize we have a whole day of hiking tomorrow, and we don't have time for you to have a heart attack. This is like the halfway point for us, and we still have a whole nother day of trekking through the jungle where we're gonna see like a fire dancing tribe. You know, that's what we came for, and this has just been extra. You know what I mean? This stuff has been fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
There's a few more river crossings that we're doing today, and the rivers are up a little bit. They're not quite shallow enough that you can just walk across and save your boots.
That could work out any worse. I think it's safe to say that we made it. I see fire and I see dancing.
This is a bigger village than we saw yesterday too, eh?
Oh yeah, this is a lot bigger. They're just loading up the fire, and we've been welcomed in, and we're gonna sit back and watch the dance. Right now, they're just kind of building the fire up, and what they're gonna do is have the females dance first, and then later the men are gonna dance. And apparently when the men dance, they dance on the fire, and the females dance around it.
They've got the fire just roasting right now.
This is the home of the fire dance.
Right, so this is the only place in PNG we're probably gonna find this kind of tribal display.
Did you bring the marshmallows?
Forgot. This is why you hike this far out for the real deal. This isn't going on in some pavilion. There aren't tour buses over there. The only other people here are the villagers and the villagers from the next village over who have come to see this thing take place.
We're having a hard time finding things in this world that appear anymore. This country is just so diverse. What is here is the unknown. Sometimes it can be scary because you just don't know what to expect because it is that raw. You'll see the parents come up, and if their kid's been acting like a brat, what they'll do is they'll hand their kid over to one of the dancers, and the dancers will take the kid and dance around, look like they're gonna throw them in the fire to teach them a lesson. They're not gonna do anything to hurt the kid, but it's interesting to see how that's how they discipline their kids. It's you've been bad? Well, that's it, you're not listening to me? Fine, listen to this guy. We better listen next time. It's completely different out here. What we've seen lately is kids running around with machetes, kids playing with fire, kids playing with snakes, and it's a different lifestyle here. It's totally different. But it works. It works.
Sometimes I think that we're traveling along at an incredible time. 50 years from now, there's going to be almost nothing true left to see. Every place we go, we see dying cultures, and a lot of times nobody even knows about them. I hope I'm wrong, but at the same time, I don't want to take that chance. I have my health, and I have my youth, and my energy. Put all those things together and see it while you can.
You push yourself in this country and you're gonna see things that will blow your mind. I think we're done for the night. What a performance.
That's better than the volcano, I tell ya. And it's hotter than the volcano too.
Initial reactions to the country is that it's very wild. I'm starting to think that, although that might be true, a better word for it is pure.
I love the culture, the traditions, I love it.
The way they live their life boggles my mind. I mean, this is what we've searched through a lot of the world to find, is something just like this. And now we're experiencing it.
Proud to be a Papua New Guinean, 100%.
This is as pure as it gets, and I think we're gonna see a lot more of it. Nick is absolutely that right connection. There are some places that it's a benefit to have someone who has that kind of knowledge. In PNG, it becomes close to a necessity.
There are some really bad areas. You have to watch yourself and you have to be prepared. The next couple of treks we want to do are going to push even harder and further in Papua New Guinea.